The perfume for February 1st was Burberry Her Elixir, I think. It's weird. The tiny little spray sample that I got, it says both. It says both Burberry Her Elixir, but then it also says Burberry Her Intense. I don't know which one it actually is, but I am guessing that it is the Elixir based off of what I was able to smell. And granted, they're really, really similar. The Elixir has strawberry, blackberry top notes, which I definitely smelled. When I first sprayed that thing, it reminded me of like a strawberry flavored shisha at like a hookah bar. And I've only been to a hookah bar maybe like a handful of, actually probably only once, but like when I was in college, hookah was like a big thing. So like most of the dumb people I hung out with like had one in their house, and it reminded me of that. I was like, what is this weird nostalgic fruity smell? And then towards the end I was getting like some really punchy like sinus puckery feelings. So that would lead me to believe that maybe I was smelling the amber and the jasmine, which jasmine is the middle note of the Elixir perfume, and vanilla, amber, and sandalwood are the base notes. So just by going off of my interpretation, I'm going to assume that what I was wearing was the Elixir, because the Intense formula, very, very similar, red fruits and blackberry, okay. Middle note still jasmine. Benzoin is the only base note. There's no vanilla, no amber. I was smelling vanilla, and I was smelling sweetness. Supposedly the Intense is more ambery and less sweet. I was smelling a whole lot of sweetness and not so much amber until the end. And maybe about halfway through, before it started giving me that pinchy, puckery, indolic feeling, it started reminding me of like bubblegum. Not like the traditional bubblegum flavor, but like a fruity gum, like a little bit of maybe like a juicy fruit gum. Then as it started fading, I wanted to like give it a little boost or layer it with something. And I still have all these perfumes that I got for my birthday from FragranceNet, and within that order is a bottle of Britney Spears' Electric Fantasy. So I actually layered that on top of the Burberry Her Elixir, and they complemented each other very well. Electric Fantasy is voted as like a warmer weather fragrance, and it does start out very fruit punchy. The top notes are passion fruit and pink pepper, but to me it was very tropical, almost like pineapple. But I think that's really the only summery thing about it. That's really the only warm weather thing about it, because once it fades, it's really this like nice, sophisticated amber, like slightly musky, powdery amber. I'm like surprised that something so sophisticated, like it does not smell juvenile. You think of these Britney Spears celebrity perfumes and you think that they're like juvenile, like perfumes for kids or teens, or they're really cheap, so they must not be very good. Yes, a lot of them are kind of like juvenile and playful and like a little bit too sweet and saccharine and gourmand, but this one, Electric Fantasy, really did something nice, for me at least. It really did smell really like refined and sophisticated once those punchy, like, fruit notes faded. Very slightly powdery, a soft, spicy, but still somehow like really fresh and musky at the same time. I really like that one, actually. February 2nd, the fragrance that I wore was Narciso Rodriguez For Her, the EDT. And despite it being an EDT, eau de toilette, and usually that's like a slightly lower concentration of the actual perfume oil, this thing was like a musk bomb. It is meant to be predominantly musky, and I actually got like soft spicy from it. It was like spicy, musky, powdery, and I think I detected like a little bit of floral. To me, it was reading a little bit rosy, even though rose is not one of the notes. And I usually don't like musks. I don't interpret musk as like a sexy fragrance. To me, it is kind of like stale and stuffy. But I tell you, when I was wearing that outside, when I was outside and like the cool breeze really like picked it up, that it was really nice. It was like unexpected, powerful, and intense. Like I said, overall, not my first choice. It was just a micro perfume sample, and I really feel like I need to get rid of my little micro perfume samples. That was it for me. I did not really detect the fruitiness. I really didn't even detect the amber. I guess I got the patchouli and the vetiver because, like I said, it kind of read like a little bit spicy or a little bit dirty to me. But yeah, predominantly musky, spicy, powdery, and a little bit floral. The fragrance of the day for February 3rd was Yves Saint Laurent Manifesto. And I think the first time I wore Manifesto, I really liked it, but I think I just wore it on clothes. I didn't put it on my skin. And I did find it to be aromatic, so like a green vanilla, not a gourmand vanilla. But this time around when I wore it and I put it on my skin, it was a lot more powdery, woody, almost nutty. It kind of reminds me of the powdery nuttiness that is in Tom Ford's Fucking Fabulous. But because it was so powdery on me, it turned into a more mature scent than I was hoping for. I was hoping that between the green notes and the lily of the valley and like the juicy black currant, that it would be more dewy, more fresh, more springy. It was mostly just like a soft vanilla baby powder on my skin for most of the day. The fragrance of the day for February 4th, I reached out for Coach Wild Rose again, which I've already reviewed in the past, so I'm not going to do it again. And for what it's worth, on that day, I sprayed my husband with Givenchy Pie. I think it is a fragrance that suits him. It's very timeless, it's classic, it's unobtrusive, it's just the tiniest bit sweet and gourmand, but also a little bit woody and piney. And also, he's a nerd. His favorite number is pie. Despite him not being a fragrance lover, he does like it, and, you know, he enjoys it. He's not really allowed to wear fragrances to work, but I think it's soft enough that he could spray it in the morning before he leaves, and it would taper off by the time he even gets to the office. But I really enjoy smelling it on him. It suits him. It just smells like sweet pine trees. And I don't know, speaking of sweetness, the fragrance of the day for February 5th, tiny little sample of Kilian Love Don't Be Shy. I've reviewed this in the past, and to me it just smells like fruity pebbles. There are a lot of like animalic notes down there in the bottom that you would think you'd kind of like sink your teeth into, something a little bit more wet and indolic down there. But to me it's just a very light, soft, maybe slightly lactonic, because I'm thinking of Fruity Pebbles cereal, and I'm also thinking of like cereal milk, like the leftover milk at the end of your cereal bowl. And it also gets a little bit bubblegummy to me. So I know that I don't really like this one. To me, it's not anything special, but like I said, I really just want to use up these little samples. And that's what I'm doing. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.